When rescuers finally found the mangled wreck, hidden deep in the woods, they didn't expect anyone to be alive, but what they saw stopped every man in his tracks. A German shepherd, caked in mud and blood, was lying protectively over a newborn baby, still breathing, barely crying, wrapped only in the tatters of a coat. And a miracle. She had been born in the crash, alone in the freezing forest. And for 48 hours, the only warmth she had was the dog no one could explain. To this day, no one knows where he came from, but everyone knows what he did. And the little girl he saved, she never forgot him, not once in her life. The clouds rolled in heavy that Friday afternoon over rural Kentucky. The roads twisted like knotted string through the hills, lined with trees, slick with rain. Inside a dented red Subaru, 24-year-old single mother-to-be, Amanda Blake, gripped the wheel tighter. Her contractions were closer now, less than 10 minutes apart. And she was still over an hour from the nearest hospital. She had waited too long. "I shouldn't have gone alone," she muttered, pain flashing across her face. But there had been no one else. No partner, no family. Just her, a baby on the way, and a job she had to quit. When her feet swelled up too badly to stand behind the cashier counter, thunder cracked overhead. Amanda winced, and then came the curve, a sharp turn she hadn't seen through the rain-slicked windshield. The tires lost traction, the world spun. Metal crunched, glass exploded, and then nothing. Just silence, rain, and the forest swallowing everything. Miles away, an older man named Howard Rusk sat on the back porch of his small cabin with a cup of black coffee, his faithful German shepherd, Ranger, lying at his feet. Ranger was 8 years old now, getting stiff in the joints, slow to rise. He wasn't a search dog. He wasn't a service animal, but he'd been loyal since the day Howard found him, abandoned behind a warehouse years ago. That day, something in the wind shifted. Ranger stood up, ears up, nose twitching, and then, without a sound, he bolted into the woods. "Ranger!" Howard yelled, startled. "What the devil?" But the dog was gone. Howard tried to follow, but the rain was falling hard and fast. The terrain was too thick for a man in his 70s to chase a dog down the ridge. "He'll come back," Howard muttered. "Always does." But Ranger didn't come back that night, or the next. Amanda awoke to darkness, sharp pain, and the realization that her legs were trapped. The car was upside down, her door crushed. Blood trickled from her forehead, and her belly was tight with pressure. The baby was coming. She screamed, but there was no one to hear her, only the wind in the trees. And then, something moved outside the shattered window. A snout, a dark face, amber eyes. A German shepherd. She thought she was hallucinating. But then the dog pressed its body against the broken frame, warming her side, and didn't leave, even when the hours turned to night, even when the baby came early, tiny and crying faintly. Amanda barely conscious, the dog stayed. He licked the baby's face, lay beside her, curled around the fragile body to keep her warm. And when Amanda passed out from blood loss, the shepherd watched over them both. It wasn't until Sunday morning that someone noticed Historia Amanda was missing. She hadn't shown up for her scheduled check-in at the prenatal clinic. Calls went unanswered. Her neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, finally called the sheriff. "She's pregnant, due any day now," she said. "She's got no family, lives alone. That car of hers barely makes it uphill. You've got to look for her." Sheriff Doyle took it seriously. He knew Amanda. Small town. People looked out for each other. The iterations. The sheriff's team began combing the highways near the clinic route. But the rain had washed away most tracks. No sign of her car. No sign of anything. Until Ranger came back, covered in cuts, limping, and barking non-stop. Howard opened the front door and gasped. "Good Lord, Ranger, what happened?" The dog grabbed his coat sleeve with his mouth. "Pulled!" barked again, and then ran back toward the woods. This time, Howard followed. The rescue team had almost called off the search. By mid-afternoon Monday, it had been nearly 48 hours since Amanda was last seen But then a radio crackled. "We've got something," one officer said. Something was Ranger, standing near a ravine, barking like mad. The officer followed him down a slope, and that's when they saw it. The red Subaru, upside down, hidden behind a thicket of pines. "Call it in," he shouted. "We've got a wreck." They rushed to the car. Shattered glass, crushed steel, and in the back seat, Amanda, unconscious, barely alive, and next to her, in a torn-up coat, a newborn, eyes closed, breathing faintly, and curled around her, tail wagging weakly. "Ranger," the officer froze. "The baby's alive," he whispered. Ranger growled low, when a hand reached forward, protecting her, even now. Even after 2 days. No food, no water, no rest. Just instinct, just loyalty, just love. Amanda was airlifted to the hospital. Her baby, named Hope by the nurses, was rushed to the NICU. She was underweight, cold, but stable. Alive, doctor said 1 more hour, and neither of them would have made it. Howard sat in the waiting room, with Ranger beside him, bandaged and dozing. Everyone kept asking the same question. How did he know? Howard just shook his head. "He's a good boy," he'd say, but something in his eyes said there was more to it. Ranger wasn't just a dog. Not anymore. A week later, Amanda woke, her body bruised, her memory patchy, but her baby was alive. And the dog, where is he? She asked, panic rising. "He's safe," the nurse said softly. "His name's Ranger. He led the search team to you." Amanda wept. She remembered his warmth, his eyes, his breath on her newborn skin. "I owe him everything." And then Howard stepped in hunt. "Miss Blake," he said, clearing his throat. "That dog, he was never mine, not really. Found him by the tracks years ago. Wouldn't let anyone touch him but me. Quiet, kept to himself. Until you." Amanda looked into Ranger's eyes, and Ranger walked straight to her bedside, laid his head on her arm, and didn't move. Amanda kept the name Hope. It fit. They moved into a small house near Howard's. He became like family. And Ranger, he never left Hope's side. He waited by her crib, walked beside her stroller, slept at her feet. And when Hope took her first steps, Ranger was the first she walked toward. Hope was 9 when Ranger finally lay down beneath the oak tree and didn't get up again. They held a small ceremony. Amanda, Hope, Howard, a handful of neighbors. And as the sun dipped low, Hope whispered to the dirt, "Thank you for finding me." A small stone was placed above the grave. It read, "Ranger, the dog who waited, the dog who knew, the dog who saved her." Epilogue. What makes a hero? Every year, on the anniversary of the crash, Hope visits the tree. She's 18 now, a scholarship student, studying veterinary medicine. She wants to save animals, just like one saved her. She still doesn't know where Ranger came from. Neither does Amanda. Neither does anyone. But maybe, just maybe, some souls don't need explanations. Some come when they're needed most, and leave when their work is done. If you ask Amanda, she'll tell you, that dog didn't just find us. He was sent.